How to Start Freelancing Part 1. There's a reason that you're Googling or you're watching some videos on YouTube about how to start freelancing or freelancing 101 or anything like that, because you're unhappy with where you are right now. So I think before I even talk about should you start freelancing, even though you think you might want to start freelancing, from my experience, it might be that it's just you're in the wrong job, right? The job you're in right now isn't good for you. And so you're like, well, I'll just go start my own thing. But pump the brakes before you even say, oh, I'm just going to go do my own thing. Just think, is that what I want to do? Is that what's best for me? Is that what's best for my family or whoever? Maybe you could find another job making more money doing what you love. One of the biggest mistakes I made right off the bat was not understanding the difference between a freelancer and a business. A freelancer exchanges time for money, right? A freelancer just does that, exchanges time for money, whether it be by the hour, whether it be by the day, whether it be by the project. They work for multiple different people and exchange what they do as a one-to-one for what the person wants. So if I go and I do work for somebody, I can charge by the hour, by the day, or by the project, or however else I want to charge as a retainer. And I do that, and then they give me money for what I do. So it's very one-to-one. Now, entrepreneur depends on systems, automation, and eventually employees that work without their direct involvement. So the key question is, if I take myself out of the equation, does the business still work? If the answer is yes, you're an entrepreneur. So I'm not trying to say that the freelancer, myself included, isn't a business owner, because there's a lot of business things that I have to do. But at the end of the day, the freelancer does not have employees. It doesn't have people, it doesn't have a succession plan to take over when the freelancer is going to retire or move on. The freelancer really exists to sustain myself and my family and not take on a bunch of overhead and to stay lean. That's how I view a freelancer. If you can clearly define what it is you want to do before you go into it, you'll be leaps and bounds ahead of other people. If you've never been paid to do what you want to do as a freelancer, I would suggest that while you're working at your full-time job, to take on some side projects or side gigs. If you want to be a photographer on the side or you want to be a camera operator on the side, go try and do that while you're working full-time at your job. Now, don't let it interfere with your job or anything like that. Don't be irresponsible about it, which I've been there, I've done that. It's hard not to, it's a weird balance, but if you want to transition out, it'd be really, really smart, in my opinion, to test the waters, to validate what you're going to do. So if you want to be that photographer guy or girl that goes out and does gigs and sustains their livelihood as a photographer, go try and do it. Now, if you're already doing it and you're like, I'm doing it, but I'm not really sure I can make it work full time, then it comes down to dollars and cents. It's really, really simple. Can I make enough money doing that to sustain my current livelihood? I mean, a lot of people are so scared, I feel like, to put pen to paper, go black and white and go, okay, I need, X amount each month. Currently, my side business is only doing X amount. So those need to match up one-to-one here or be more. The other thing is runway, right? Runway is how long do I have to go without making any money. If I lose some clients, if I lose the clients, do I have a runway to be able to build more clientele? Or when something crazy happens, like what the pandemic we're in right now, do I have a couple of, another book called The Freelancer Bible talks about these blue chip clients, the perfect client, the client you've always wanted. Do you have any of those? Do you have one of those lined up? That can help sustain you through a hard time, even if you lose other clients. So I've gone from working internally to freelancing 2 times. And each time was completely different. One time I was working for an awesome guy. We'd worked together for 3.5 years. He was like my mentor. In a lot of ways, he taught me almost everything that I know. But I felt this desire to go and work on my own. So that was the first time that I went out. Then the second time, I actually got a really good job offer while I was freelancing for a client that I was freelancing for to come on, full-time in-house for them, doing video production for them. So I did that. And then after about 1.5 years working with them, my wife and I really wanted to move. And it wasn't an option for me to stay on full-time with them. So then I basically was thrusted right back into freelancing again. And that had a lot of different things I had to do. I had to transfer my business, or I had to close my business in Texas and open a new one in North Carolina. I kept the same name. That's a whole process. We'll talk about that in another video. So I say all that because how you get into it is different for everybody. So you're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, well, what's my next step? What do I do? My big thing would be go talk to somebody that you know that's already doing it. And if I'm that person that is already doing what you want to do, a freelance video content guy, doing camera operator, doing, DP, doing editing, doing lighting, doing all these different things as a one-man band, but also helping out with other freelancers and doing other stuff like that, then reach out to me. I think it's so easy to get cocooned in this and feel almost claustrophobic when you're in this process of coming out of a full-time job or thinking about what's the next step. And so one of the best things in my experience is to reach out and ask for help. Talk to somebody who's already been there. I'm happy to do that. I'd love to be a person that you can use as a resource, ask questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? I may not even know how to do it, but I can at least contact you with somebody or put you into contact with somebody who does know how to do that. So I'm curious, if you're watching this and you've already started freelancing, what was your process like? What did you do? How did you start? Do you have any advice that you'd give to people that are just starting to freelance? There's 3 books linked below. One of them is Pivot. One of them is the $100 Startup. And the other one is the Freelancer's Bible. So if you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, hit the like button. And if you want to follow along on future videos, hit the subscribe button.